Hey guys, TheSneakySnake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at an excellent game that I had in the HsienYang, the Tier 8 Pan-Asian Destroyer. I'm divisioned up with my friend from APOC, Puddin597, and he's playing in the Prinz Potato, the Tier 8 German heavy cruiser, and we're playing some domination here on the map Warrior's Path. So this game that you're going to see here in the HsienYang is the last game that I played in it before I finally grinded out of it and got enough XP for the Chungmu, which is of course the upgrade, the Tier 9 Pan-Asian DD. And this game that you're going to see here is, well, it's not the most monster game that I've had in this ship by any means, but it's one that does go down to the wire, and I'd have to say is a game that anybody should be proud of with this result. The Pan-Asian Destroyers overall, in my playthrough with them, has been pretty good. No ship in the line per se have I not enjoyed. I guess the Fusion I didn't particularly care for, but other than that, all of them I've done extremely well in, and I've had a good time playing in them. However, this matchmaking that I have for this game is Tier 10, and there's quite a few other gunboats. There's an enemy gearing, there's also an enemy Shimakaze, and while the Shima is certainly not a gunboat, it does have the alpha damage on its guns to dissuade me from trying to get too close to it, unless I'm able to jump on it from an unexpected angle. There's also, of course, a Des Moines that's spotted. There's Tier 10 battleships, so there's plenty of threats out there that I do need to be very, very careful of. You can see that there are torpedoes coming in that are going to pass just to the front of my friendly gearing. It's in the smoke. So what I'm going to do here, you can see that the cap is not ticking upwards for us, so there has to be an enemy destroyer there. I'm going to go out in front of the smoke screen and try to get a spot on this guy. Now, of course, with the HsienYang, this is basically a Benson that has deep water torpedoes, and it lacks the ability to use defensive fire. If that is the TLDR on the ship, then I'd say that's probably the best bet that you're going to get. I do open up fire here on the Fletcher, and I'm getting some nice penetrating hits. I may have popped this smoke screen a little bit too early, because you can see I was indeed the one spotting him, and it was a little bit of a lapse in concentration on my end, but I was able to spot him long enough for one of my friends, probably either in the Conqueror or the Rune, to get a very nice Alpha Strike salvo on that guy, and it's going to push him off of the A-cap. He was down to about 3,500 hit points after he took that big chunk, so my job is done, and we are now going to be able to get this A-cap. Now, of course, knife fighting other destroyers in any Pan-Asian destroyer can be somewhat tricky, especially if you stray a little bit too close, because of course, since you have deep water torpedoes, they are unable to touch enemy destroyers, while they are certainly able to shoot back at you. However, the HsienYang, like I said, it is a Benson clone per se, so it still is a very good gunboat in that regard. You, of course, get the mechanized turrets. You have 4, 2 at the front, 1 in the rear, 4 guns in total. They have a rate of fire stock of 3.3 seconds, which is great. So obviously this thing is going to be able to deal quite a bit of damage if left unchecked. You do come equipped with 10 torpedoes and 2 quintuple launchers. However, they are the rather pedestrian Benson torpedoes that you are used to. 55 knots of top speed, which is rather slow, 16,600 max damage, which is pretty good, and a range of 9.15 kilometers. However, the reload is rather long. Stock, it's 122 seconds, so just over 2 minutes. So these torpedoes don't reload very quickly, and you have to get in close to make them count. They are a nice upgrade over, well, if you were in a Benson, they are a nice upgrade over the Sims Torps, but compared to the Gajimada's torpedoes at Tier 7, I think I would rather have those British ones rather than these. However, the HsienYang does have excellent concealment at 5.8 kilometers when fully souped up for it, and of course, since it is a Benson clone, well, technically it's a Gleaves class destroyer, but I digress. It still has excellent rudder shift and an excellent turning circle, and to get those numbers for you specifically, it's 570 meters on the turning circle and a stock rudder shift of 3.5 seconds, which you can get below 3 seconds if you run the rudder shift equipment piece. So anyway, getting into the gameplay here, it's 315 to 369. We have A, the enemy team has C, and unfortunately, the cap is being contested at B right now. However, the enemy team does have a 261 to 415 lead, while their Montana was able to kill our Iowa. So we are down 3 ships to 2, and I am making a pretty ballsy play right here to open fire on a Des Moines who's only 7.5 kilometers away from me, but it appears he has bigger fish to fry, and his armor-piercing shot is going well ahead of me to, I would assume, my buddy Puddin, who was just off my port side. He does switch his fire over there to the Kurfürst, but the Kurfürst rounds the corner and manages to delete whatever was left of him, so that's very good stuff right there. However, the Kurfürst is in a little bit of a problem here. You have to be careful about pushing your battleships into the B cap on this map because it is so close quarters and it is so contested in those areas that taking large damage salvos is almost inevitable, simply because, you know, you have really crappy turning and sometimes you just can't turn fast enough to be able to angle to enemy shots that would be coming in on you. I do mark the target on the enemy Fletcher there for our team to get, and my friend in the HsienYang manages to take care of business, but you can see there that the Kurfürst, who was once at about 70,000 hit points, is now down to 6,000, and he is ticking hit points very rapidly here. So he's going to go down. The Fletcher manages to detonate our friendly Montana with torpedoes, and then the Conqueror's high explosive shot that set afire was able to take care of the Kurfürst. So things are not looking good here. However, this is one of the big teaching points of this replay. Notice that I switched to armor piercing. You're going to see that the bow is unsaturated, 2,079 damage on that first salvo, another 2,079 on the next one. You are able to utilize shooting AP into the very tip of the bow and the very aft section of the stern. And as long as it's not saturated, you are able to get very nice, consistent damage with the AP. And that's something that a lot of players, regardless of what nation's destroyers you're in, do not realize. And because the HsienYang has the excellent rate of fire, you saw right there that Missouri from OPG took almost 9,000 points of damage in those 4 quick salvos. So that was some very good stuff right there. His radar is active right now. However, he is, you know, just around the corner at 2.2 kilometers. And there's also the line as well at 3.6. So I'm certainly not going to go around the corner here. And I'm going to wait until his radar goes down. But unfortunately, I got within his 2-kilometer assured acquisition range. So you can see right here that I'm still detected even as I pop my smoke. My smoke play thus far in this game has been, well, to put it lightly, pretty bad, and to put it very bluntly, extremely terrible. But, you know, at this point in time, I really wasn't thinking about it. I was trying to get off a nice torpedo salvo at the line. Very unfortunately for me, I misjudged his speed, and he is going to slow down in time. And you can see the weakness of the deep water torps. I am not able to hit the Shima with these torpedoes. One does slam home into the bow of the line. He is going to use his repair. I now decided to go man mode here and come out around the corner. I was afraid of the Shimakaze dropping his torpedoes in at me. However, I did manage to judge the second torpedo salvo on the line very nicely, and I will be able to get the kill here. And now, as I shoot the next high explosive salvo and pick up a dev strike on the line, I switch to the armor piercing because you can see the stern of Ashton Wolf is not saturated. So 2079 once again, another big salvo, 2772. I do take over 10k in return, but you can see this armor piercing shot. I don't think he was expecting this, and I managed to get 4 2k plus salvos on that guy and take care of business. I'm down to 1,200 hit points at this moment, and those Conqueror shells should be coming in on me at any moment. I do pop my last speed boost here, and what I'm trying to do is dodge the shells from the Shimakaze and get out of range. And as I manage to do so, he's now 5.8 kilometers away. As soon as my debuff goes away, I will go undetected, and there we go. The Conqueror's shot also missed me, so very, very luckily for me, I managed to get out of there with a bit more hit points to work with. And now what I'm going to do is put myself into a position as I'm resetting the Shimakaze here where I'm able to stealth fire. The smoke that is right in, or not right in front of me, but is off to my starboard side is protecting me from line of sight from that guy. And because my buddy Putin is right next to him, he pops his hydro here any second, and the Shimakaze pops up once again. So now I'm blind firing at this shimmy, and unfortunately for the poor fella, he managed to get stuck on the Missouri's sunken hulk. So that guy actually cock blocking, so to speak, this Shimakaze, and he's not going to be able to get out of here. And you can see that the bow is completely submerged and he is still stuck. And unfortunately for me, the HsienYang manages to get a nice cheeky kill steal right there, but that's okay. We got the kill, and 2 of those enemy ships taken care of, actually 3 if you count the line. So a ballsy play right there by me, I must say, and it did end up paying off. Excuse me, very unfortunately, I did take that very large hit from the OPG battleship, but, you know, I still have 1,200 hit points, and as long as you have at least one, you are still in the fight. And this is especially applicable to destroyers because even at 1 hit point, you still have the excellent stealth, you still have the excellent maneuverability, you still have smoke screens, and you shouldn't be throwing your ship away. And for the rest of this game, I'm going to obviously be playing with this very low amount of hit points. It's only going to take 1 over-penetration from the Montana or the Conqueror to be able to send me to Davy Jones's locker. So I have to play this a lot more passively than I'd really want to at this point in the game, but my hand has been forced because I took that big chunk. Now, I do decide to launch my next torpedo salvo downrange at the enemy Montana, and very luckily for me, those Conqueror shells just went above my superstructure. I actually was worried right there that I was going to get TK'd, but that did not happen. And unfortunately for me, this Montana does slow down, and he does start to move in. However, the one benefit that these torpedoes do have is because they're so slow, sometimes if you guess wrong and the enemy ship makes a weird play and decides to move back into your torpedoes, you know, you're actually able to secure some hits there. I do manage to hit one right at the bow for about 10,000 points of damage dealt. I'm not sure if he was using his damage control. I did not manage to pick up a flood on that guy. So what I'm going to do here is pop my next smoke screen, my first actual good smoke screen of the game, and I'm going to start to pepper this enemy Montana here. Somebody else is spotting that guy. It appears that the HsienYang is, so that's very good. Now I'm going to open fire on this guy, and we're going to see if I can get some resets. There we go. I get 2 resets. Hopefully I can set a fire on him. And JK, I guess my smoke screen really wasn't that good after all. Unfortunately, the Conqueror went around the side of the island, and another smoke screen by me that is very, very poor. And this is somewhat of a pet peeve for me because I hate doing it, and it's also something that is one of my few glaring weaknesses that I still have in my game. It's something that I don't know why I do it. I really don't. I mean, yes, panic smoking is a thing. It reminds me of the panic knifing in Call of Duty way back in the day when I used to play that game. It's something that's easy to get into a habit of doing. And I'll be frank with you guys, I'm not afraid to admit that. And, you know, everybody has their weakness. Everybody has their thing that they're bad at. Everybody has their things that they're good at. And this is something of mine that, you know, I'm not the best at managing, and honestly, it's really easy to get into this mindset with the Pan-Asian DDs because you get an extra smoke screen for no reason. Excuse me, you get an extra smoke screen if for whatever reason because you don't have to run superintendent. The Pan-Asian DDs get an extra smoke screen just because. Now, very fortunately for our team, the HsienYang manages to pick up a crack and unleashed, launching some torpedoes, it appears, on the enemy Conqueror. I only have 8 seconds left on my smoke screen, but unfortunately for me, I cannot afford to launch torpedoes at this Montana, and the reason why is because, of course, the Conqueror is going to round the corner, and I would not want to have any torpedoes possibly hit that guy. I get out of the smoke screen just in time as I was going around the corner here, and you can see the Conqueror is making a push around. Some very close range fighting going on in B. Battleship on battleship action. It can get pretty awkward in there. And if you take a look at chat, totally humble from Cunningham. If you watch this replay, thank you very much. I'm glad that you enjoy our content. But anyway, it's 5:10 to 5:44. I have finally made the play that I should have made quite some time ago, and I'm going to get over to the sea cap. Now, the enemy team has 2 battleships and 1 cruiser, while our team has 1 BB, 1 cruiser, and 2 destroyers. So we do have the advantage here, but unfortunately for us, the enemy team is about ready to capture the A objective, and they do have the points lead, and right now they are the only team acquiring points. However, I am going to get on this cap right now, and I will be able to get this base cap done in about 56 seconds from now. So far in this game, I've made quite a few mistakes. My smoke play has been poor. I took a very questionable salvo from that Missouri, and I could have died right there. Obviously, I took a very large hit, but I don't think I played that as good as possible. And my torpedoes have been all right. Obviously, the deletion on the Lion was nice, and I was patient enough to wait to utilize my second salvo on that guy. But yeah, the play hasn't been up to my standards, and I've still been able to have a pretty good impact on the game. However, you can see the rune on our team is on only 8,400 hit points, and our friendly HsienYang is only on 400 plus right now. So it's not looking good for him, and this game is certainly far from being over. I am, however, in a position where I can stealth fire over the island and get some very nice shots into the Montana, and I will manage to take care of this kill right about now. There we go. I get my 3rd kill of the game, and seconds after that, I pick up my first solo base cap of the game. I have now accounted for 3 of our team's base caps, doing exactly what destroyers should do in domination. Not carrier chasing if there is a carrier in the game, not trying to put yourself on a flank way far out and try to get torpedoes on ships that are out of position. No. You got to get into the caps or get near the caps and make your presence felt right then and there. So at this point, it's now 571 to 562. We are going to be capturing the B point here, so we have given our team a bit of a breathing space here to work with. The Rune is getting some hit points back with his heal, so that's very nice. The Mogami is coming around the corner of the island over there at Delta 4/5. And it's looking all right now. The enemy destroyer, the final enemy destroyer, did get taken care of, which is very good. Or no, excuse me, they didn't have an enemy destroyer. I'm sorry. The Montana got taken care of, so obviously that was the main benefactor on why we were able to get the B cap. So at this point, this is our game to lose. We're only up by about 20 points, but again, this is our game to lose. However, that HsienYang does have to be very careful. Again, he is well within one-shot range. The Mogami probably only has to have one shell touch him and penetrate, and he will kick the bucket. The Rune, however, is only on 8,500 hit points, and then Joel Holte or whatever, his Montana manages to land a very nice salvo into the Rune, and the enemy team manages to pick up the lead once again. So now it's 578 to 633, and there's only 3 minutes and 18 seconds left in this game. So we don't necessarily need a kill. We still would be able to retake the points lead if we didn't get a kill. But it would be nice just to have that little extra insurance, to be honest with you. And my buddy in the HsienYang manages to get off a very nice torpedo salvo that's going downrange at the Montana. And we're going to see if he's going to be able to get some nice hits in on that guy and make him burn his damage control. And obviously, it's nice that we have a Conqueror on our team, so hopefully he'll be shooting the high explosive shot. And as soon as the HsienYang manages to get some floodings on this guy, then hopefully the Conqueror will be able to light that fire on him. So you can see here the HsienYang torps going in. Looks like 3, maybe 4 are going to hit that guy and make that 4 torpedoes. Very nice stuff right now. And then, what do you know? I make another terrible smoke layer right here. I'm thinking that I'm going to get ready to farm this Montana. And, of course, I was the guy spotting him. Honestly, this smoke play was just absolutely abysmal. Honestly, probably some of the worst smoke play that I have ever had, at least recently. They're just absolutely trash. Getting some more shots, though. It looks like the HsienYang moved out of my smoke screen and is now getting the spots on this guy. And I do manage to light a fire on the superstructure of the Montana, so that's good stuff. However, the Mogami decides to make a very questionable play, and he comes right back in at us. However, the HsienYang that went to the north side of my smoke screen is now in a very precarious situation because he's only a couple hundred meters outside of the Mogami's detection range. You can see the Conqueror just, goes right through the front of that guy without too much of an issue. That high explosive shot is pretty ridiculous. Our team has retaken the lead, 698, make that 704 to 693. And we are shooting here. However, the HsienYang does get detected. I'm not sure why he decided to shoot when he was outside of the smoke screen. And I do manage to light a fire on the Mogami, but he is going to get another shot in at the HsienYang. Will he die from this? No. Very fortunately for him, he does not. And the Montana, however, manages to take care of business, but at the same time, Chuck Norris in the Conch manages to take care of the Mogami. So we trade ships, but if you trade ships and have the 2-point cap advantage, it only works in your favor, which is very nice. So with 1 minute and 4 seconds left in the game, once again, this is ours to throw. This is ours to lose. Very fortunately for me, I managed to shoot down that plane that was flying over, that scout plane, right before the Montana got behind the island and would have been able to get some shots at me. But once again, I realize that I have very low amount of hit points, and there's no reason for me to stick my neck out. There's no reason for me to make a dumb play here. And notwithstanding all the terrible smokes and the questionable rush around the B, I've still been able to have an influence on this game. Obviously, the results at the top right for the ribbons and the damage and whatnot is still a fantastic game. And at this point, there's no reason for me to go trying to chase that Montana and get him spotted. So I'm just going to park in here at this little cove, and we're going to wait out the rest of the game. So with that being said, let's take a look at the post-battle results. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 514,000 credits received and 12,800 total experience earned. I did pick up a devastating strike. I dealt 145,000 points of damage off of 218 shell hits and 6 torpedoes. I sunk 3 enemy ships, shot down 1 plane, had 3 base defense ribbons, 1 solo cap, and 2 assisted base captures. Taking a look at the team score, 2,774 base EXP for myself. Even though the HsienYang had 5 kills and had 2,300 base XP, I managed to come out on top because I probably had more caps than he did, but also I am a tier 8 in a tier 10 battle, and I did do quite a bit of damage to ships of a higher tier. Taking a look at the detailed report, 60k done with the main battery, 58k dealt with the torpedoes, and 27,000 points of damage dealt with the other in the fires and the floodings. I also managed for 88 of our team's 240 capture points and 17 out of our 28 defense points. So I hope you guys enjoyed this replay as much as I had playing in it, even if the play was a bit subpar for my standards, but nonetheless, it was still a well fought out victory, and it was a game that was satisfying to play in. This is the Sneaky Snake, of course, for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. Please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, or possibly subscribing to the channel. All of it is very much appreciated. And with that being said, guys and gals, as always, have a great day.